I will read now part 7 from the book Freedom from the Known, written by the Philosoph Jiddu Krishnamurti. R.S.M.R. Katz. Put your headphones in your ear, because this is a crystal clear sound experience, because this video is extra in ASMR style for you. It is very difficult to look at anger dispassionately because it is part of me. But that is what I'm trying to do. Here I am, a violent human being, whatever I am, black, brown, white or purple. I am not concerned with whether I have inherited this violence or whether society has produced it in me. All I am concerned with it is whether it is at all possible to be free from it. To be free from violence means everything to me. It is more important to me than sex, food, position, for this thing is corrupting me. It is destroying me and destroying the world, and I want to understand it. I want to be beyond it. I feel responsible for all this anger and violence in the world. I feel responsible. It isn't just a lot of words. And I say to myself, I can do something only if I am beyond anger myself, beyond violence, beyond nationality. And this feeling I have that I must understand the violence in myself brings tremendous vitality and passion to find out. But to beyond violence, I cannot suppress it. I cannot deny it. I cannot say, well, it is a part of me and that's that. Or I don't want it. I have to look at it. I have to study it. I must become very intimate with it, and I cannot become intimate with it if I condemn it or justify it. We do condemn it, thought we do justify it. Therefore, I am saying stop for the time being condemning or justifying it. Now, if you want to stop violence, if you want to stop wars, how much vitality, how much of yourself do you give to it? Isn't it important to you that your children are killed, that your sons go into the army where they are bullied and pushed? Don't you care? My God, if that doesn't interest you, what does? Guarding your money, having a good time, taking drugs? Don't you see that this violence in yourself is destroying your children? Or do you see it only as some appreciation? All right then, if you're interested, attend with all your heart and mind to find out. Don't just sit back and say, well, tell us all about it. I point out to you that you cannot look at anger nor at violence with eyes that condemn or justify, and that if this violence is not a burning problem to you, you cannot put those two things away. So first you have to learn. You have to learn how to look at anger, how to look at your husband, your wife, your children. You have to listen to the politician. You have to learn why you are not objective, why you condemn or justify. You have to learn that you condemn and justify because it is part of the social structure you live in. Your conditioning as a German or an Indian or a Negro or an American or whatever you happen to have been born, with all the dulling of the mind that this condition results in. To learn, to discover something fundamental, you must have to captivate, to go deeply. If you have a blunt instrument, a dull instrument, you cannot go deeply. So what we are doing is sharpening the instrument, which is the mind which has been made dull by all the justifying and condemning. You can penetrate deeply only if your mind is as sharp as a needle and as strong as a diamond. It is no good just sitting back and asking, how am I to get such a mind? You have to want it as you want your next meal. And to have it, you must see that what makes your mind dull and stupid is the sense of invulnerability which has built walls round itself and which is part of this condemnation and justification. If the mind can be rid of that, then you can look, study, penetrate, and perhaps come to a state that is totally aware of the whole problem. So let us come back to the central issue. Is it possible to eradicate violence in ourselves? It is a form of violence to say, you haven't changed. Why haven't you? I am not doing that. It doesn't mean a thing to me to convince you of anything. It is your life, not my life. The way you live is your affair. I am asking whether it is possible for a human being living psychology in any society to clear violence from himself inwardly. If it is, the very process will produce a different way of living in this world. Most of us have accepted violence as a way of life. True dreadful wars have taught us nothing except to build more and more barriers between human beings. That is, between you and me. But for those of us who want to be rid of violence, how it is to be done, I do not think anything is going to be achieved through analysis, either by ourselves or by a professional. We might be able to modify ourselves slightly, live a little more quietly with a little more affection, but in itself it will not give total perception. But I must know how to analyze, which means that in the process of analysis my mind becomes extraordinarily sharp. And it is that quality of sharpness, of attention, of seriousness, which will give total perception. One hasn't eyes to see the whole thing at a glance. This clarity of the eye is possible only if one can see the details, then jump. Some of us, in order to rid ourselves of violence, have used the concept and ideal called non-violence. And we think by having an ideal of the opposite to violence, non-violence, we can rid of the fact, the actual, but we cannot. We have had ideals without number. All the scary books are full of them, yet we are still violent. So why not deal with the violence itself and forget the word altogether? If you want to understand the actual, you must give your whole attention, all your energy to it. That attention and energy are distracted when you are creative and fictitious ideal world. So can you completely banish the ideal? The man who is really serious with the urge to find out what truth is, what love is, has no concept at all. He lives only in what is. To investigate the fact of your own anger, you must pass no judgment on it. For the moment you conceive of its opposite, you condemn it, and therefore you cannot see it as it is. When you say you dislike or hate someone, that is a fact. Also, it sounds terrible. If you look at it, go into it completely. It kisses, but if you say, I must not hate, I must have love in my heart, then you are living in a hypocritical world with double standards. To live completely, fully in the moment, is to live with what it is, the actual, without any sense of condemnation or justification. Then you understand it so totally that you are finished with it. When you see clearly, the problem is solved. But can you see the face of violence clearly? The face of violence not only outside you but inside you, which means that you are totally free from violence because you have no ideology through which to get rid of it. This requires very deep meditation, not just a verbal agreement or disagreement. You have now read a series of statements, but have you really understood? Your conditioned mind, your way of life, the whole structure of the society in which you live prevent you from looking at a fact and being entirely free from it immediately. You say, I will think about it. I will consider whether it is possible to be free from violence or not. I will try to be free. That is one of the most dreadful statements you can make. I will try. There is no trying, no doing your best. Either you do it or you don't. You are admitting time while the house is burning. The house is burning as a result of the violence throughout the world and in yourself. And you say, let me think about it. Which ideology is the best to put out the fire? When the house is on fire, do you argue about the color of the hair of the man who brings the water? Relationship, conflict, society, poverty, drugs, dependence, comparison, desire, idols, and hypocrisy. The causation of violence, which we have just been considering, does not necessarily mean a state of mind which is at peace with itself and therefore at peace in all its relationships. Relationship between human beings is based on the image-forming defensive mechanism. In all our relationships, each one of us builds an image about the other, and these two images have relationship, not the human being themselves. The wife has an image about the husband, perhaps not consciously, but nevertheless is there. And the husband has an image about the wife. One has an image about one's country and about oneself, and we are always strengthening these images by adding more and more to them. And it is these images which have relationship. The actual relationship between the human beings or between many human beings completely ends when there is a formation of images. Relationship based on these images can obviously never bring about peace in the relationship because these images are fictitious and one cannot live in an abstraction. And yet, that is what we are all doing, living in ideas and theories, in symbols, in images which we have created about ourselves and others, and which are not related at all. All our relationships, whether they be with property, ideas, or people, are based essentially on this image forming, and hence there's always conflict. How it is possible then to be completely at peace within ourselves and in all our relationships with others? After all, life is a movement in relationship. Otherwise, is no life at all. And if that life is based on an abstraction, an idea, or a speculative assumption, then such abstract living must inevitably bring about a relationship which becomes a battlefield. So, is it at all possible for men to live a completely orderly inward life without any form of compulsion, imitation, superstition, or supplementation? Can he bring about such order within himself that it is a living quality not held within the framework of ideas? An inward tranquility which knows no disturbance at any moment, not in some fantastic, mythical, abstract world, but in the daily life of the home and the office. I think we should go into this question very carefully, because there is not one spot in our consequences untouched by conflict. In all our relationships, whether with the most intimacy person or with a neighbor or with society, this conflict exists. Conflict being contraction, a state of division, separation, a duality. Observing ourselves and our relationships to the society, we see that at all levels of our being there is conflicted. Minor or major, conflict which brings about very superficial responses or devastating results. Man has accepted conflict as an innate part of daily existence, because he has accepted competition, jealousy, greed, acquisitiveness, and aggression as a natural way of life. When we accept such a way of life, we accept the structure of society as it is, and life within a pattern of respectability, and that is what most of us are caught in, because most of us want to be terribly respectable. When we examine our own minds and hearts, the way we think, the way we feel, and how we act in our daily lives, we observe that as long as we can conform to the pattern of society, life must be a battlefield. If we do not accept it, and no religion person can possibly accept such a society, then we will be completely free from the psychology structure of society. Most of us are rich with the things of society. What society has created in us and what we have created in ourselves are greed, envy, anger, hate, jealousy, anxiety. And with all these, we are very rich. The various religions throughout the world have preached poverty. The monk assumes a robe, changes his name, shaves his head, enters a cell, and takes a vow of poverty and chastity. In the East, he has a lion clothes, one robe, one meal a day, and well, I respect such poverty. But those men who have assumed the robe of poverty are still inwardly, psychologically rich with the things of society. because they are still seeking position and prestige. They belong to this order or that order, this religion or that religion. They still live in division of a culture or tradition. That is not poverty. Poverty is to be completely free of society. So and may have a few more clothes, a few more meals. Good God, who cares? But unfortunately, in most people there is this urge for exhibitionism. Poverty becomes a marvelous, beautiful thing when the mind is free of society. One must become poor inwardly, for then there is no seeking, no asking, no desire, no nothing. It is only this inward poverty that can see the truth of life, in which there is no conflict at all. Such a life is a benediction not to be found in any church or any temple. This was part 7 from the book Freedom from the Known from Jiddu Krishnamurti. I just can recommend you to listen part by part from the book. And in the end, for sure, I will upload a video clip where I put all parts together to one big book. But this philosophical book has such a big impact when you really think between all of this, what is written inside, that you really, really need to focus. And for this, I put it in parts, that you have the ability to listen with 100%, to know exactly that you can follow and hear where it is talking about. It is normal that some sequences are not understandable. And this book you can read in different kind of ages in your life, and you will find always truth. And some points you are right now very much related in, and then some other parts you are not that related to. But it is a long confrontation, and life is a flow. It is a roller coaster. And you, when you live it, have experiences who are far beyond all expectation you may have already known and given from you, from the society. When you see and when you think in yourself and about yourself, you will find there a lot of triggers and tingles you can work with. And to work with triggers and tingles is why I make this ASMR channel. My name is ASMR Katz, and I'm a heavily tattooed girl who takes you on the adventure of sound. I love to show you with different kinds of minimalistic things how your triggers can get even more intense. Sometimes I read a book, like right now. Sometimes I make different sounds in my videos you might never heard before in this intensity. I like to make mukbang videos and eat food. I like to motivate you when you stand up or drink a coffee. I like to go with you to bed and be your warm pillow you can lean on. I try my best to give you through minimalistic things the maximum effect. It doesn't matter if you are sad, if you are anxious, if you are angry, or if you're just happy, if you want to sleep, if you want to process, if you want to relax or meditate. There are different forms, and therefore is ASMR perfect. If you not already have, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And every Sunday and every Wednesday I will upload a new clip, so I just can recommend you to click on the notification bell as well. I love when there is some interaction happening here on my channel, so feel free to comment under this clip if you have some ideas, some thoughts, or some wishes for the future. I am more than happy to keep on track and to comment and answer your comment fast. If you already liked this video, then feel free to click all through my timeline here on the YouTube channel, because I have a lot of other clips waiting for you, and I have a lot of different ASMR experiences here who are just waiting to get seen. I am happy that you take your time and listen to this clip till the end, and I just can recommend you to click through all the other clips in any kind of thought, in every kind of atmosphere you are, and to progress and evolve together with me and my channel here on YouTube. I hope that this book from Jiddu Krishnamurti helps you a bit to think about all the things who make this life worth it. If you want to know more about this philosophical author, you just can Google him. There are so many books out there waiting for you. My husband already told me that he writes over 1 million words in books. He has a very, very intense life story, and you have to check it out when you are now interested in. And I hope from the bottom of my heart that we will see us again soon to maybe the next part of this book, or even to some other video clips here on my YouTube channel. I hope that you have now a good sleep, or a good start in the new day, or that you have some time to think about the words I just read for you, that you have some time for yourself, that you can go for a walk or make some sport, whatever it makes your life worth it and enjoyable. It is absolutely necessary that you also take some time for you, because this is what you need to progress and to succeed in whatever goal you have to achieve. And I am happy that you take your time together with me to be even more focused for the things who wait ahead of you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting me, for being on this channel and help me to grow. And I hope that you have now an amazing time ahead of you, and that I see you very, very soon on the next video of mine you can find here on my channel.